All right, Code Keepers, we're in for another great show with Minister Zumbi. Minister Zumbi Shawal. I didn't know you had an X in your name, bro. Yeah, your name just keeps growing, man. It was Zumbi, then it was Minister Zumbi, and then it was Minister
Yeah.
Zumbi Shawala, and now it's Brother Minister Zumbi Shawala. I mean, ex Shawala.
Mhm.
So, okay. Hey, bro, from what I understand, there's a large demand for your book.
Yeah, I just got off the phone with a friend of mine who kind of serves as I guess you would say, a de facto business mentor. And she's going to be taking a trip to Ohio to speak to a group of young people who are about to be released from prison. And she wanted 12 copies of my book to give to them as part of a 3-day workshop that she'll be giving to them. So, what I had told her, I said, look, just give me, instead of her trying to take the books on the plane, I said, just give me the address of where you're going to be in Ohio, and I'll just have Amazon ship it directly to them so you don't have to worry about uh, carrying these books on the plane.
Well, speaking about your book, I have two authors on the show tonight. Brother Minister Zumbi X Shawala and the good brother Sam Varner from Sam's Corner. Hey, Sam, man, your book is about finance, or it's about professional something, and, and
Professional
Zumbi
stuff. Thanks. Thanks,
and
professional.
Zumbi
Oh, Lord.
and Zumbi's
Right.
book is about finance something. So it's kind of good to have two esteemed authors on the show tonight. Zumbi, where are you taking us tonight, bro? Where are you taking us?
Well, it kind of goes back to some previous conversations I've had. It goes back for those of you who do have my book, Gospel of Afronomics Theology. I'm going to be dealing from a chapter called Tablet 12, Advisors to the King or Queen. Okay. The reason I bring this up is because in a previous conversation, I asked the question, what do God and rich people have in common? And the one thing that I said is that God and rich people, they both think in systems and teams. Okay.
Whoa, that's nice.
They
Okay.
think in systems and teams. So, for example, for those of you who subscribe to the Abrahamic faiths, be it the Torah, the Bible, or the Quran, you will hear how the Creator develops systems, whether it's the universe, galaxies being systems, the 9 planets being a solar system, the Earth as an ecosystem, the human body as a system made up of systems integrated together to work in unison and harmony. That's the system part. If you look at the team part, what was the
Wait,
first?
wait, 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 wait. Whoa. You're telling me that the Almighty, the great deity, the great spirit, whatever terminology you want to go by, operates in systems.
Mm-hmm. And then,
Never can
yeah,
never thought about that.
and then the team part. What was the first team that God created?
Team animals? I don't know. I mean, depends on what
Okay,
what origin story you going with.
okay. Like I
There's
said,
two of
okay.
them in the Bible. There's two of them
So
in the Bible.
for
Um,
those who are in the Abrahamic traditions, the first team that God created was Adam and Eve. Okay. In the fourth surah of the Quran, Allah tells Adam and Eve, I have created you both from the same essence. And from your pairing will come nations, clans, and tribes, so that you may come to know one another and not despise one another. Okay. So we go from Adam and Eve, we get Ruth and Boaz, we get the 12 nations or the 12 tribes of Israel. Uh, Prophet Isa or Jesus had 12 disciples. Prophet Muhammad had his Sahabas or companions. So everything is about systems and teams. Okay. The whole concept of a self made millionaire is probably the biggest lie ever told in the history of business and wealth building because it never happens.
okay, so are we saying that Madam C.J. Walker, and this is kind of rhetorical,
Hmm.
Madam C.J. Walker was not a self-made millionaire?
No, because and this is not taking anything away from the ancestor. What we're saying is, as we do our research, okay, no one ever gets there solo. Nobody. And that's without exception. Because if you don't have systems and teams, even if you come into a windfall, you still need systems and teams in order to manage, maintain, protect, and expand the wealth that you have created.
Right. Exactly.
Okay. So that's why lottery winners, you never see them get past the first generation, like we talked about in a previous show about the wealth cycle and the 3 phases.
Okay.
So you have those lottery winners that don't even get past the first. It's like they go directly to the 3rd phase, which is a squanderer, because they never had a plan to build, manage, maintain, protect, and eventually bequeath the windfall that they've received. So we always have to look at things in the wealth building process in systems and teams. It's never a solo act. Never.
All right. Let me be Mr. Pushback. Here in the United States of America, we just had Mother's Day, and we have a large amount of single parents, namely mothers.
Mhm.
Are you saying that single mothers don't do it all by themselves?
No.
Even
single, quote unquote, single mothers need systems and teams.
Oftentimes they do. Single just refers to them being maybe like the primary, or like maybe the father is not in the household or not currently active. But the saying, it takes a village, rings true.
Mhm.
They can't do it by themselves. No one can. And to my brother's point, definitely. Like when you look at anybody, you can go from Jeff Bezos, you can go to Bill Gates, you can look at anybody. And but even like let's just do a fun one. Cardi B.
Okay.
We just do a fun one, Cardi B, because it's fun. Cardi B has not achieved this success by herself. Does she have personality? Absolutely. Is she wild? Yes. She's just her own thing. Her personality does set her apart from other people. But the machine that is the business of Cardi B,
there you go.
That lawyers, that's investors, that's accountants, that's marketing, there's all of these people who are behind the scenes. We only see Cardi B. We only see the hair, the nails, all the stuff that is fun. But the business, especially with celebrities, we don't see all of that. So when someone says they did it by themselves, okay, I can understand you wanting to say that, but to get to where you were, to get to where you are right now, someone had to create opportunity. Someone had to open doors. We can't act like there are no gatekeepers, because there are plenty. So a lot of things take place for someone to get on that journey. You may have had the product or the idea or the thought, but to implement it, to get it to mainstream to where you have these followers, you have these endorsements and deals, it takes a team. And even with a single mother, my mother was a single mother. My father was, I'm gonna be good today. My father was wherever he chose to be. He was wherever he chose to be. Because we good now, so I'm not gonna be too bad. He was wherever he chose to be, which is fine. But then there was my grandmother, and then my aunt. And then sometimes there were guys from my church, uncles, etc. So there was always, I can't speak for everyone. Now, my mother was the forerunner. She was the parent. But there were lots of people throughout my life personally who showed up at particular times.
Okay, it looks like your postulate is ringing true, Brother Zumbi. All right, but before you proceed,
Here we go. Here we go.
before you proceed, you talked about the Abrahamic faiths.
Mhm.
You know, Hebrew, Christianity, and Islam.
Mhm.
Do we find that rings true in some of the indigenous belief systems and Zoroastrianism and Rastafarian? Well, that's a bad example. I'll pull that one back. But do we find that in some of the earlier religious belief systems?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, we can even look at the Orishas,
I
and
say.
whether we talk Yoruba or Ifa, and then go into Santeria, Condoble, Olopalo. So you do see systems and teams even in indigenous faiths, and even what I would call traditional African spirituality. So there's no exception. Everyone is subject to operating in systems and teams. Even if we study nature, if we study the animals, they show us that. A prime example, if you study a pack of wolves, that whole concept of a so-called lone wolf, it's really a myth, because you always see wolves. Think about it. When Public Enemy released Welcome to the Terror Dome, Chuck D had a line in there. It says, "Move as a team, never move alone." Or Welcome to the
You got
Terror
you got to put the horns in there.
Dome.
Wah, wah.
so so even in hip hop, we understand the importance of systems and teams in order to maintain whatever empire or other form of civilization that we attempt to build.
Okay, since you went there, let's go there. Recently, we had the goings on between the
Mhm.
good brother Kendrick Lamar and the good brother Drake.
Okay.
Where are the systems and teams in that situation?
Well, here's how I look at it. Depending on, and I don't know if each individual is considered an independent artist. Okay. But let's just say, for the sake of argument, that Drake is being backed by MCA Universal, which I think he is.
Ooh,
Okay.
I was gonna say
Now,
that's not an argument. That's not for the sake of argument. That's
okay.
how they say it now. That's facts.
Okay. So now if you've got $100 million machine being financed by MCA Universal to back your war against another artist, okay, what did Jimmy Henchman say to Tupac? Before you go to war, get your money right. Okay. So everything still operates around systems and teams. You can't wage that kind of war against somebody who may have superior lyrical skills to you if you don't have that kind of machine and finance backing you. You see? So even within so-called conflicts within hip hop, I mean, let's take a look at 50 Cent. Okay. He had that type of machine backing him when all he wanted to do is to be an emperor and basically go after everybody. Okay. So even within those conflicts within hip hop, and I'm just talking on a commercial level, you still need a machine to back your war. Okay. So yeah, even system, because think about it. You need the system of distribution to put your songs out there. Okay. You need the radio stations, you need the promoters, etc. You need the financing to make sure, and yeah, I'm gonna mention the P word, payola.
Oh, that's not my P word, but I'll go with that. You got me excited for a second.
no, no, but I mean, even using the financing to back your war, because you still need that. So everything still comes back to systems and teams.
Okay, so if systems and teams are the way that the Almighty designed things.
Mm.
How do we bring this to empowerment? And I think, Sam, this is kind of where you might have a little insight as well. How do we bring this concept of systems and teams into our empowerment?
I'll let Sam go this time.
Okay. How do we do it? It's such a it's not a tough question. It's one of, I think a lot of times, I think especially for us, as African Americans, because I believe in our DNA and our culture, we just are communal. And I think sometimes in our chasing of money, wealth, and power, we take on sometimes, I think, white systems of thinking and being, which are more self-driven versus communal. And I think for us, when we're building community and we're want to create generational wealth, it's a three-pronged process. Well, it's actually kind of four, in my opinion. Number one is the money, yes, but it's a tool. And most people don't think of money as a tool, but it is. It's one of those things, if I put a whole bunch of money in front of you, unless you pick it up or do something with it, it's just going to sit right there. The second part of it is you need the education, which is vitally important. A lot of people sometimes shy away from it because when you become educated about something, there becomes a level of accountability and responsibility. And a lot of times people don't want to deal with that. Sometimes we make mistakes and mess things up. The other thing that comes a part of it is we have to not just talk about it, but we have to be about it. The fourth thing, which is kind of bringing all the things together, is the communal aspect. No man is an island. And so if we want to build collectively as African Americans, as a group of people, or even if we want to break it down even within our family structures, then we have to create community. We have to talk about money. We have to build. We have to create an atmosphere where, because a lot of times growing up, talking about money, even collectively, is kind of like taboo. People don't like to talk about it, but we don't talk about building wealth. How can we get money together? How do we create community? How do we create an active space where we all win when we're sharing our collective knowledge, experience, and learning about money? So I think within this space or within this framework, it is very important for us to, if we come with, it's all about me, and sometimes I feel like that is sometimes the ego thing, but it's also, I feel sometimes it's anti-Black, because no matter what people say about us as Black people, when we get together, we create magic. Whether we're being absolutely silly, which we can be at times, because that's the beauty of us. Despite everything we've gone through, we still can create this beautiful atmosphere of fun. But we also sometimes forget and negate that there are plenty of African American men and women who are creating businesses, who are creating ventures, who are starting everything from venture capitalist firms to tech companies, who are moving and movers and shakers. And I think for us, if we want to take ourselves collectively to the next level, I really feel that it starts with family. Now, I know the saying that we have Black people, not all skin folk is kinfolk, but I think that if we learn how to build community and create it in such a way, if we create the atmosphere for generational wealth to exist, it can, because it's beyond, I want to just leave money, because I've heard a lot of people talk about that. I just want to leave some money. You can't leave money, because how the wealthy do it is, yeah, they have the money and they have the tool, but they've also grown up with the knowledge of how to utilize it. There are things we're still catching up. We're learning about how to create a bank. we're learning about how to use wealth and leverage credit. These are things we're just learning now, where others have learned it many generations ago. And of course, it's not to knock us, but now that we have this, that's good, but we're still missing some of those elements of coming together. And this is just my last little point when it comes to marriage. Because a lot of people, I want to get married, I want to get married. But marriage as an institution traditionally was about building wealth. It was about bringing families together. It wasn't about love. I don't care if you love me or like me. We have wealth, we have a certain level, or we have maybe influence. We come together, we have more. That's what marriage has been. Now it's more commercialized, it's about love and stuff like that. But there was also that business aspect. And so I think when it comes to that, we have to talk about business. We have to talk about these things within our household. We talk about the feuds, we talk about all this other stuff, but we don't sometimes, even with growing up, ask your kids, well, do you want to start your own business? What does that look like? We don't talk about personal finance. I know the school systems should be, but we should be talking about that stuff at home. I don't want to go too much because you don't say, oh.
You know what? You said some things that I really like. And I guess one of the pieces that kind of needs to be highlighted is Zumbi. Brother Sam here is the leader of his family's investment group.
Okay.
Not
he is the leader. He is the leader of his family's investment group. And I think that's something we really need to highlight more of, that we can, as families, come together and work together and build wealth. Because truthfully, they not like us. But one of the areas where they not like us is that's normal for dominant society, particularly the powerful in dominant society. That's normal for them to get together and to have family investments, family businesses. That's the norm. They not like us.
Well, it goes back, and as Brother Sam was talking, I go back to what the Honorable Elijah Muhammad had said in Message to the Black Man, where he talked about that there were certain sciences that in order for people to have any form of civilization, they must master and apply these certain sciences. One, I call the science of beef, which is business, economics, entrepreneurship, and finance. That's number one. Number two, the science of diplomacy, negotiation, and warfare. Number three, the science of mate selection and genetic engineering. And there's two other sciences I've applied to this. Number four, the science of education. And then number five, which ties in all the other sciences, is the science of culture. And I say this in my book, that whenever you study an economically prosperous people, that their economic prosperity is rooted in a nucleus of culture, history, and spirituality. Okay. Culture, it gives you the paradigm or the worldview from which you view things. History, where you understand where your people have been, what they have accomplished, where do they need to go. And then spirituality, it gives you the moral foundation in terms of how to deal with your neighbor within your village and how you deal outside of your village. Okay. So everything is built around that nucleus of culture, history, and spirituality.
Bro, you got to allow us a moment to get our notebooks and our pads when you start talking, bro. Like we used to say, Minister Zumbi does not bring receipts. He brings invoices.
I like that.
Wow. That's so that kind of leads us to where I kind of want this conversation to go, brother. I know you have a lot to share with us. I definitely want to make sure that we end with some action steps. All right. So I don't want to stop your flow. I don't want to hinder your hustle. But I want to make sure that we end with some action steps. So code keepers, by the time we finish this conversation, because Zumbi can talk. By the time we end this conversation, Beloved Zumbi is going to give us some action steps where we can look at employing advisors to royalty.
Mm.
And one of the things that I really love is in this concept of advisors to royalty, that concept of the family bank. And so our leader, our mentor, our good teacher, A. Donahue Baker, who is featured in my newest documentary series, Generational Flip. If you haven't checked it out, find Generational Flip. That's generationalflip.com. And you get a chance to learn from some luminaries like A. Donahue Baker. And A. Donahue Baker, if you remember, what we had in the episode 1, he was just dropping it. He was dropping it. He was talking about family banks. Actually, he talked about family banks in episode 2 as well. But a family bank is an institution rather, where a wealthy family would hire a set of professionals to specifically take the wealth they've created and to duplicate it and to triplicate it and to quadruplicate it. I'm making up terms now, but really just to make their money make money.
Mhm.
And what if we were to do that, even if we're not uber wealthy, even if we're not the rich? I'm not talking about inward rich. I'm talking about rich.
Mm.
So what if we were to create our own institutions to help our families build wealth? So when you talk about advisors to the king, as a teacher, I tell a lot of students all the time, hey, if you want to be on the top of your game, you got to have a coach. Beyonce has a singing coach, right? Alvin Ailey dancers, they all have dance coaches. Chris Brown has a dancing coach and a singing coach. Kobe Bryant had a coach. Name another sports person. They all have coaches.
Right.
So why do they have coaches? So they're on top of their game. The president of the United States and the presidents all over the world, they all have cabinets and advisors. So if you want to be on top of your game, you got to surround yourself with a team. You have to have a coach. You have to have advisors. That's just what the uber successful do. So when you talk about advisors to the king or queen or advisors to royalty, I'm trying to be inclusive. My heteronormative toxicity often comes out, as my daughter would tell me. So if we want to be advisors to royalty, or we need to get advisors to royalty, I definitely want to make sure that we can walk away with some action steps. So, Zumi, that's just my humble beg of you to make sure that you give us some action steps as we leave. So, hey, the floor is yours again, brother. Tell us more about advisors to royalty, system thinking, system strategy, you know, and so we can say they not like us because they ain't acting on team. They're not on code.
Mm. Well, one of the things, and it may be getting a little ahead, but I want to put this in for the record. This book, let me back it up here. Okay, the book is called The E-Myth Revisited by Michael Gerber. Okay, what this book talks about, and believe it or not, when I did a internet radio show, one of the first shows we did was a book review of The E-Myth Revisited. I had a real estate investor from DC call me the following day and told me that I literally saved his marriage when I recommended the book to him. For the simple fact that he never understood about building systems and teams, which is what Gerber talks about in this book.
Okay. Oh, okay. I thought when you said you helped save his marriage, it was a chapter about plumbing and
no.
laying pipe and okay.
No, because it
didn't go over well. I tried.
Because what it is that if you are the most important, somebody said this, can you walk away from your business for 90 days and still make money?
That part. Yeah.
If you cannot, then you cannot call yourself an entrepreneur. You just basically bought yourself a job because everything still revolves around you. And this is what Warren Buffett was saying about you must solve the riddle of making money in your sleep. If you don't, you will continue to work for money until you transition out of here.
Exactly.
Okay. And so what I want to do to go into my book, when I talk about advisors to the king or the queen, what I found in my research is that all wealth builders have 10 positions in their cabinet that needs to be filled. And they need to be filled by these particular experts. Okay. So the first one is an accountant or CPA. That's number one. Number two, you need a basic attorney or a lawyer. Number three is a banker, a personal as well as an investment banker. Number four is a certified financial planner or a financial advisor who is not beholden to a brokerage firm. Okay, because a certified financial planner must act as a fiduciary on behalf of your clients. That way, there's no conflict of interest involved. And I think Brother Sam can attest to that.
Wait. Fiduciary? You using those Zumbi words again, man. All
okay,
right, so
here's what I mean. Okay, when I talk about fiduciary, whoever is considered your financial advisor, you must operate in the best interest of your client. In other words, I'm not going to sell you an investment product for my commission. I'm looking out for your best interest as my client. That's why when you have people who are connected to these brokerage firms, there's always a potential conflict of interest, because if you're commission based, then there's really, the objectivity is not there as it would be if you're an independent certified financial planner.
Right.
Okay. Correct. So that's that one. The next one is an insurance agent or a broker. The next one I have is, and this is very important, an estate planning attorney. Okay. Followed by an asset protection attorney. Now, the reason I mention these two, I watched a lot of athletes and a lot of entertainers who basically lose the wealth that they built through their performance because they didn't have an estate planning attorney or an asset protection attorney to make sure that once their gladiator days or once their performing days as an artist are over, they can still live. You know, like you check out my man, Sir Mix-a-Lot. He's still receiving royalties from Baby Got Back, which he made back in '92.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
So was it in one interview, he says his business manager called him and said, "Yo, man, we just got a check for $300,000. It's like, what? It's like, yeah. So he's still making money from a song that he put out over 30 years ago. Okay.
Hold on. He's still making money off a song about big booties.
Right.
Yeah, man.
I mean, Nicki Minaj did her thing. Other artists have sampled it. And that's why, if you notice with a lot of celebrities, they talk about, especially Kevin Hart talked about owning his stuff. I own my specials. I own this. It is my intellectual property. And everything this brother is saying is true about having an accountant, a certified financial planner, insurance, estate planning, because I've been making sure taking notes. All of those things are extremely important because we see a lot of celebrities, whether basketball, wherever they are, and they make these large sums of money. And then a couple of years later, they go broke because a lot of times they don't either have good business sense, which not everyone, because businesses can be difficult for everyone to kind of get in and learning about money, but you need to know something because it's yours. And sometimes they get swindled, but that asset planning part is truly in the estate planning, but the asset protection part is so important because Sir Mix-a-Lot has a commodity that just will keep earning him, whether he's taking a shit, but whether he's doing that, no matter what he's doing, it's still earning him money. And that's why the really wealthy talk about active income is income basically that you do from doing something. You go to your job, that's active income. Passive income can be money from investments. Let's use the case of Sir Mix-a-Lot. He has this song, it gets sampled. It's been sampled a lot. You know, again, it's making him money, and he has to he doesn't have to exchange time for money. And that's what the wealthy have really understood. You want to have as many things as you can have happening that do not demand the requirement of time for money, because time is finite. It's not infinite. But if you have that passive income, if you're able to build these certain things, it doesn't matter what you're doing, that thing is still generating money for you. And that's what you really want. And like brother said, talk about planning, because that's really, like, a lot of times people are like, oh, I want all this money, or if I win the lottery, yeah. But if you can't manage $5, you can't manage 5 million either. And that lump sum, if you don't know how to plan that money, because money without a purpose is not going to stay with you. Your money has to have a purpose, even if it's just your paycheck. We could take it that simple. If your paycheck doesn't have the purpose of, I save 5%, I invest, 10%, I put this amount for rent, and this is something for travel. If you don't give your money a purpose, it's going to come to you and it's going to go bye-bye. It's going to go and fly away, because it has no reason to stay with you, because you haven't given it a purpose. Like I said, money's a tool. But if the tool is a purpose, it's not going to stay with you.
Right.
You know what? In the great documentary film Generational Flip, we can find on generationalflip.com, Dr. George Fraser talks about proper management of accumulated wealth. And so I'm so glad you brought that up. His teaching on it is phenomenal. That's in episode 2 of Generational Flip. That's generationalflip.com. Yeah, I'm doing the shameless plug, but this is my platform. Hey, Sam, get your book, man. We want to make sure you get a chance to highlight your book as well. Matter of fact, we'll take you off just for a second so you can get your book, right?
Okay.
All right.
So now let me
take over, brother. Take over.
Yeah. So, and I know Sam will attest to this next position. The next position is a tax attorney, and I'm gonna tell y'all a true story. Red Fox. Because of the fact that Red Fox didn't take care of his taxes, I don't know if y'all remember when they showed, because Red Fox was living in Vegas at the time, okay, where the IRS was sending people up in his house at 9 a.m., taking things out of his house. And you had a local news crew filming it. And here's Red Fox sitting up here begging for help. After all the people he's helped along the way, I'm talking about from people who are on the Chitlin circuit all the way up to Pat Morita, Mr. Miyagi. All right. And
wait. The Chitlin circuit. For those who are uninitiated, brother, can you give a definition of the Chitlin circuit? Because I realize, some of the code keepers are younger than you and I are.
Well, for those who remember during the Jim Crow segregation era,
wasn't around. Wasn't around.
But because of Jim Crow and segregation, we had to create this thing called the Chitlin circuit, where instead of staying in a hotel, we would always stay at the residence of an elder brother or elder sister. Case in point, Charlie Parker, when his band was traveling, okay, they hit a bump, and they realized that bump was a chicken that they hit. So Charlie Parker picks up the chicken, okay, and when they got to the house where they were supposed to be staying, Charlie Parker asked the woman, "Well, ma'am, we just ran into this chicken. Would you be so gracious to cook it for us?" She said, "Sure." So she went back, cleaned the chicken, plucked the chicken, cooked the chicken, fed everybody. Okay. So that was an example of how the Chitlin circuit was going on at that time, when we couldn't stay in, hotels.
What does a chicken have to do with chitlins?
No, but what I'm saying, I'm just giving you a story about how the Chitlin circuit was operating.
Okay. I just,
So
I didn't want to have the Chick-fil-A story, the melanated Chick-fil-a story, and people get people.
no.
All right.
So the
It
main
didn't work.
thing, is with taxes. Okay, how many of our athletes and entertainers have gotten in trouble with taxes? I just mentioned Red Fox. We can look at Joe Louis. We can look at hell, even Kumo D got in trouble with taxes. Even Will Smith got in trouble with taxes.
Wait. Isn't Kool Moe Dee a CPA?
No, not to my knowledge. No. Okay.
I think he became a CPA, or he went on Wall Street or something like that.
But I do know that he, along with Will Smith, had tax issues. Okay. So having a tax attorney so you can develop a sound tax strategy to make sure that you render unto Caesar what is Caesar's.
So Will Smith had a tax situationship.
Yeah. And even Fat Joe, Fat Joe went to jail over his tax issues.
Wait. I thought he was gangster. You're telling me that Fat Joe went to jail over taxes?
What it was, whoever he entrusted to pay the taxes basically never sent the check into the IRS. Ooh. And they just walked away with the money. And even the judge knew it, but the judge threw him in jail. Okay.
Another shameless plug on generationalflip.com. If you go to episode 3, we have Queen Phoenix, who's a friend of the show, been on the show a few times. She spent 3 years in jail because she owned a tax firm and she had a fiduciary responsibility to make sure that everything was done right and exact up to code. She had to stay on code. And because she didn't oversee a number of tax returns, and this number was over 30, in a fiduciary manner, those tax returns were filed incorrectly. And so she faced charges for each one of those incorrectly filed tax returns. And she ended up spending time in federal prison. So that's that story can be found on generationalflip.com, episode 3. But it's kind of interesting that you bring that up, and I am doing shameless plugs.
Okay. So having a tax attorney is a part of your wealth building cabinet. The next one is having a real estate agent or broker. And then the final one is having a business advisor or a business coach. Okay. So these 10 positions, now it can expand, but I found that these 10 positions should serve as the foundation for any wealth builder, entrepreneur, etc., who's serious about building wealth for this generation and the generations to come.
So how does that happen, Sam? I know you have a background in taxes and finance, and you're our family stock guru. Any thoughts on what Zumbi just shared?
No, all of those things are important. You need the accountant because you want to make sure that the money that is coming in for your business is coded correctly. You want to make sure that the revenue is treated as revenue. You want to make sure expenses, all of those things, that's what you need an accountant for. The attorney is going to give you all the legal stuff, all your contracts, all that stuff, because contracts reign supreme and no one cares about what you talk about. They care about what is written. And a lot of times people don't know what's in their contracts. And we've heard a lot of artists talk about you think all of these artists made all this money and you realize they didn't because they didn't know what was in their contracts. You need the certified financial planner because they're going to talk to you about investments. And I'm glad that you brought up a good point about independent ones, because a certified financial planner, they're going to tell you about stocks, mutual funds, this portfolio, etc. But when they are tied to another entity, of course, there's commissions, but then they get a cut of that. And you want a financial planner that's going to tailor a plan that benefits you, not just something that benefits them. You definitely need insurance. Insurance is key and so important. A lot of us as Black people, we don't really know much about insurance, and we don't even know the difference sometimes between term and whole life. And again, not to talk about anybody, but it's just even about just having that basic knowledge. But I like the point that you made about the business advisor or coach, because it's very important. A lot of people have talent and skills, but the coach is the one that helps you to bring it out and to refine it. And that's what we need. We need that refinement. We all have good skills, but it's like having, a lot of us are like blades. We're like a katana, but it's not sharp. And that's what the business coach and advisor helps you to sharpen your skills. If you're a singer, helps you to hit certain notes. If you're a football player, all of those things, whatever it is. But taxes is one of the most important things. And you really need a good person, because you also need to be honest, even with all of these, the key, what I've seen with a lot of successful celebrities who have went on and do business, they know a little bit about every little thing, from the attorney, the accountant, the banker, the CFP, the estate planning, asset planning, real estate. They learn what's the saying? A jack of all trades. I forgot. It's, better than a master of one, something along those lines. What they've learned, a lot of times people think that they have to know everything, but really in business, if you know certain things about different aspects, and those 10 things that he mentioned were so vitally important, especially when you're trying to create wealth, because a lot of times that's the system that you need. That insulation protects a lot of people. And if you don't have that, that's why you see a lot of people who start out, they get the celebrity, they get the fame, they get the endorsements, they have all this money coming in, and then you wonder how they got broke. How did Toni Braxton go through bankruptcy? Not once, but twice.
She's as fine as she is.
But see, that goes back to here's another thing, and this will probably be in a future book or whatever. Everything has what I call a B-side to the game. And when I mean B-side, it means business. Okay. I think it was L.A. Reid who says, when you look at the word music business, the music is 3 hours, but the business is 24/7. Okay. And even in an interview I heard with MC Search, he says the problem with a lot of artists today is that they get so obsessed with the bag until they don't take the time to study the industry and how the industry works. They do not study the business model. So understand the business model, you understand how the revenue model operates.
Right.
Because because you're so obsessed with the bag, it's kind of like this. It's like, okay, everybody wants sausage, but you don't want to take the time to learn how it's made.
Right.
Okay. It's like you want the prize without the process. Doesn't work that way.
All right, brother, bring us home, man. Bring us home. Give us some action steps, some things we should do, and then, at the end, Sam, I would love if you would talk a little bit about this investment group that you lead for the family.
Okay, so here's one of the things that I would recommend is, and I'm using China as an example. When Chairman Mao came to power in 1949, China developed a 100-year plan so that by 2050 they would become the big man on campus. Okay, so what I said was, can African people create 90-day plans? So let's just say, as an action step, over the next 90 days or the next 12 weeks, can you save $1,000? Just something that simple. Okay.
Ooh, okay.
Also, develop a relationship with your banker. Okay. Because that's the easiest and probably the least expensive relationship to develop, where you're not having to pay somebody, for a 1 hour service, because everybody has a banker in their $1 million Rolodex. Okay. Another thing I would recommend is to pick up Benjamin Graham's The Intelligent Investor. Okay. So you can begin to understand the concept of value investing, because I think the way Benjamin Graham taught Warren Buffett about investing, I think it fits the mentality of a lot of our people, to where, we're very, and Sam can probably attest to this, we're very risk averse as a collective.
Right.
Okay.
True.
So by getting into value investing, we're not looking for, the short-term fix. And I think by studying value investing, I think that would put us on the right road to understand the process of developing generational wealth.
Okay.
So if you look at those three things, can you save $1,000 over the next 12 weeks? Okay. Can you begin to set up a relationship with your banker, and that way your banker will begin to introduce you to other people, and then pick up Benjamin Graham's The Intelligent Investor, along with Michael Gerber's, and I'll hold it up again, the E-Myth Revisited, if you really want to understand business systems. Okay.
Dope.
So let's start with those three things. Yeah.
All right. So, well, I need to probably do a disclaimer very quickly. So Sam is my cousin. So I'm going to call him Cousin Sam sometimes, but he's the leader of our family investment club, our investment group. So, Sam, give the folks a little strategy. How could they do the same thing that we're doing under your leadership?
Number one, you want to get together those family members that are like-minded. You have to remember, when you're coming together, the investments are important, but you want to make sure that the people that you're working with have very similar mindsets and strategies, building wealth, creating generational wealth, but also learning. Education is key, and that's what you want when you come together. And plus, as family, a lot of times we have our personal lives, we have a lot of things going on. This is a great way for people to come together, families to come together and start to build and to create. And I know a lot of people will say, well, I can't do this with everyone. You always come up with the reason why. But I challenge every listener to think about, give yourself a reason why you should. Because it's easy to come up with, well, I don't like this person, and that's okay. But a lot of times, if we want a better life, we have to give ourselves, well, what's the reason that I should do it? And then do it. When it comes to an investment group or creating a family investment club, number one, education is a priority. It's an absolute priority. So whether you all have books, whether you all take classes, no matter what it is, if you have someone like me, like I just rattle stuff off, and Seiko has questions, purpose just to, whatever it is, you want to make sure that education is important. Why? Because you want to make sure that within the group, you're passing along that knowledge. And then you encourage those within the group to pass it along. Why? Because you're creating a new standard or a new foundation for your family. And in order to do that, you have to start. Maybe sometimes it's just two, or maybe just three of you, and that's fine. But start somewhere. Start having conversations. Of course, people are going to be risk adverse. People are going to be like, well, what y'all trying to do? Well, I don't understand this. This doesn't make sense. And that's fine. What we're trying to do is get people used to, or family members in this case, into a new way of thinking about family connections, building wealth, and their relationship with their money. Because once you become part of this like investment group or started, people are going to start looking at their personal finance and be like, oh God, I've messed up. Or I haven't done this right. And that's fine, because the lesson is, I haven't done this right, but now I'm learning how to do things correctly. So that's important. We use a site called TribeVest. I think it's really good. The site is very transparent, and transparency is important in business. And a lot of times people get concerned, especially within our communities when it comes to, well, who has the money, what's this, what's that. And with TriVest, it allows you to fully see this is what's going into the, this is what's come out, et cetera. So it allows you that level of transparency. What I love about our group is that for the first 10 or 15 minutes, I call it our family time. We just kind of, it becomes an involuntary like check-in. How's everybody doing? How the kids? What's going on with everybody? And in this, not only have we created family, but we've also now created a community because we've created an excuse for us to come together and build ties that we normally wouldn't have otherwise. So I think it's a great thing for every family to do. And I think it can be a good platform for families and those who want to start and create generational wealth. Now, is there work involved? Yes, it is. Yes, it is. A lot of times people don't want to do that. They want it to be, oh, well, I want to do this and then I want to see this big return right away. But you're building something and it takes time to build. And the work is, and it's not a lot of work, but there is work involved. But everything that's beautiful and important takes work and it takes care. So I just want to put that out there.
I have a question for Brother Sam. Would you, and I don't know if you do this with your investment group, but one of my principles in my book is where I talk about the importance of developing personal financial statements. And I'll explain why. I talked to 3 different bankers, and what they told me was this, and I don't know if any other banker would admit this. They told me that if you were to come into a bank for a business loan, if you come in with your own personal financial statement, you are 3 times more likely to get the loan than if you didn't. Okay, now these are 3 different bankers. They don't know each other, but they all told me the same thing because they said, when you present your own personal financial statement and you put it in that business plan package, it's an indicator to the potential lender that you are serious about your money. Now, I don't know if that's something that you do in your investment group by everybody developing their own personal financial statement and having it updated every 30 days, because I talk about what you want to do is create what I call a positive imbalance, where your revenue and your assets is greater than your expenses and liabilities. So I call that a positive imbalance.
Positive imbalance. I might have to take that. Well, I like that, a positive imbalance, right? Because we don't do that, but that is something that we definitely can do.
Okay.
As a group, we are in that still smaller early stages of getting everyone. But what I have noticed that even though we don't do that, I have noticed from the conversations, there has been a great shift in people talking about their personal finance and where they are and where they want to be. So for me, that's a good place, and definitely we can definitely look at that and build upon it.
Okay.
Yo, so let's wrap up. So Zumbi, in 30 seconds, give those 3 steps you talked about, and Sam, maybe in 30 seconds you can talk about how a family can at least start thinking about building an investment group, and then I'll wrap us up.
Okay. So number 1, develop a relationship with your banker, whether you take your banker to lunch or whatever, but start with your banker. The second one is get the book, The Intelligent Investor by Benjamin Graham. It is Warren Buffett's Bible. So that way you can begin to understand value investing, which I think fits into this generational wealth pattern. And then thirdly, challenge yourself over the next 90 days or the next 12 weeks that you can save $1,000. Okay. And it's really not so much about the amount, but it's about mastering what I call the world's most powerful force. And that is the universal law of habit. If you can master your habit, your habits must serve you, and you not serve the habits.
That's it.
Woo, that was dope. That was dope. All right, Zumbi did it in 30 seconds too, man. I'm proud of you, bro. Proud of you. I'm giving you high fives over here, bro. Hey, Sam, cousin Sam, man. What can people start doing to start thinking about a family investment group? 30 seconds.
One thing that they can do is really just really talk to your family. Say, hey, look, I think we should come together, do this, see who bites, and kind of go from there. If it is the saying, if it is to be, it is up to me. It got to start with somebody. And if you have the thought, then you're the somebody and you need to start doing it. Tribevest.com is a good place to start. There are a few others, but Tribevest is a good company and they're a good website to use.
All right. Do you have your book with you? I want you to show that off.
So I do really quickly. I have my book, Developing the Workforce of You, a guide to harmonious work life and soul. And it's really about utilizing and understanding that every job, every workplace has its own set of benefits. It is your responsibility to make the job work for you. And so my book helps you to really look at yourself, look at areas of where your strengths are, your weaknesses, and really allowing you to tap in. Not everyone wants to be an entrepreneur. I'm not going to push that on everybody. Some people want the 9 to 5. Sometimes it works for them. If you have a job, then this book is really definitely for you. It's going to really help you understand and identify what are the things I can do to get myself to the level that I need to be. And it really helps you to build the relationship, not only with others, but also within yourself on a professional level.
Dope. Well, this has been an episode of Precise Thinking. And that's where Minister Zumbi really kind of gets a chance to talk his talk. And I get a chance just to be a little butthole and ask some really silly questions and make a few bad jokes that don't always fly too well. And just to add a little insight as well. Tonight we dealt with they not like us. They not like us. They not like us. And unfortunately, we need to get like them. And fortunately, Minister Zumbi and Sam gave you the strategy. Once again, they not like us. And unfortunately, we need to get like them. And fortunately, Zumbi and Sam gave you the strategy to get there. We need to start acting in teams, using strategies, using systems. We got to start doing this, y'all. We got to. And look, when I say start, I should probably say restart. Because we started this. All these systems can be led back into creations that we created. This is nothing new. So we need to restart with systems and teams. And with that, hey, check out Zumbi's book, check out Sam's book, check out the documentary, and we love y'all. All right? Peace.